Hi there, do-it-yourselfers. Today we're going to be taking a look at Blazer's complete relay wiring kit with toggle switch. If you have any powered accessories that you need to operate inside your vehicle or motorhome, this will be a great way to get a switch inside your RV and have the appropriate circuits to power it properly. The most common application for this switch is to use it for lights. However, my buddy Tom's dad, he uses his to operate the misters on his food truck. It's an illuminated switch that lights up when you turn it on. This makes it easy to see so you know that your accessory is on. Unlike other switches, this one comes with a relay. Relays are used to power a high current device using a low current switch. So the switch that comes with the kit is all low current and sends the signal to the relay, energizing the relay. The relay has heavy duty contacts on it for powering circuits that require an excessive amount of amperage. The whole circuit is fuse protected. This includes the light for the switch and whatever accessory you're going to power off the relay. You get all the wiring and everything you need to get it installed. However, you will likely need additional wiring to get your accessories wired up, as the wiring that comes with the kit is kind of short. The installation is going to vary from vehicle to vehicle and for the application you're going to be using it for. We're going to give you a general idea of how you'd hook it up with your accessory. We're going to be using ours to power some lights. We've already got our lights installed, and this is the wire that will go to our lights to power them up. After you've got your accessory installed and you've got the wires from it that you'll need to hook up to your relay, you'll need to choose a location for your switch. We've decided to place ours just below the steering wheel next to our brake controller, and we've cut out a small rectangle here for the switch to fit in. The switch has an outer bezel that also comes with it, and that outer bezel is designed to work with curved dashes. So if you have a curved dash and you have no flat spots like we do here, you may need to use that outer bezel. The wires you see here we're going to be using to hook to our switch. We are going to be cutting some of the ends off and using different ends for this setup. They give you a good variety of ends on the wires that come with it to work with the accessories you're using. You do not have to use the ends, however, you can choose to use whatever ends you want. If you are going to use different ends, you'll likely need some butt connectors. If you are replacing the ends or doing any splicing inside the vehicle, you can use regular butt connectors. If you're doing any wiring that lives outside the vehicle, I recommend heat shrink butt connectors to keep out any moisture and prevent any corrosion from happening in the future. You can pick up butt connectors here at etrailer.com. We'll begin our installation by installing our switch. There's 3 wires that we'll need to connect to our switch. We'll need to hook up a power wire. We'll be using the red wire to do this because a fuse is already installed. It's a low 2 amp fuse, and we want that to go to our switch to power the light on our switch as well as send our signal to our relay. We'll be hooking up the accessory. This is going to go to our relay to energize it, turning on the switch for the relay. And we'll need ground. The ground is what's going to allow the light to illuminate inside of here. So we'll go ahead and start making those connections. We're going to hook our red wire up to that power circuit. They simply slide on. We're going to be using our green wire on our accessory switch, as the green wire that comes in the kit has the same end on both ends, so that way it'll plug into our switch, the other end will plug into the relay. And last, we're going to use ground. Now, the kit does come with yellow wires for hooking up ground, but the wire that comes with it is too short to reach our ground point. So what we're going to end up doing, we are going to use the yellow wire, but we're going to cut off the end here and we're going to extend it. You can purchase some extra wire here at etrailer.com, or you can use some of the wire that comes in your kit that you probably won't be using. The blue wire here we're not going to be using for our particular light setup that we're going to be doing. The way the blue wire would work, the white wire here that comes in your kit will connect to the output of the relay. And they did this because this is a dual connector here. This is a dual round terminal. So the blue wire can then poke in and connect to that. So this way you could have another one and connect to here, and you could have 2 different sources powered off the same wire. We're just going to be hardwiring everything, so we're not going to have these quick connections. So since we're not using our blue wire, we're going to be using our blue wire to extend our yellow wire for our ground circuit. So we're going to go ahead and cut the ends off of our blue wire. We're going to strip back the yellow wire and the blue wire, and we're going to connect those 2 together using a butt connector. These butt connectors do not come with your kit. slide your wire in one end, crimp it, and then slide the wire on the other end in and crimp it as well. You can now feed your wires in. I'm not going to push the switch in all the way just yet, just in case I need to make any changes to it. We're just going to kind of get it in place, because once you push it in, you'll have to release these ears to get it back out, and that can be difficult, and we don't want to potentially damage anything trying to get it back out. We can now start hooking these wires to our relay. We're going to save the power wire till last. I always recommend you hook up your power wires last, so that way you don't have any live circuits when you're working, and it minimizes your chance of accidentally causing a short. So our green wire is going to go to our relay. And there's a nice little diagram here on top of the relay. So our switch is going to be for our energizing side, which is our 85 and 86 pins. This is the switch side. This is what's going to go to whatever accessories you're powering. So we're going to go ahead and find pin 85, and we're going to plug into that. Our blue wire here will connect to ground. On the other end of our blue wire here, we're going to be putting on a ring terminal. We're not going to be using the one that came with our yellow wire that we cut off, because it's too small to fit on the ground stud for this vehicle. You could use that one, but if you need a larger one, you can pick those up here at etrailer.com as well. So we're going to take the other end of our blue wire here. Our ground stud is located back here. So we're just going to go ahead and route that wire over that direction. We're going to cut off the excess. Now, we're going to be hooking ours to the stud for our brake pedal, but depending on where you've decided to mount your relay and your switch, you may not be anywhere near these components. As long as you're hooking to a ground stud, or you use a self-tapping screw to go into the frame or a metal component that's connected to the ground on your vehicle, you'll be fine. Gone ahead and stripped back the blue wire and slid our new ring terminal on it. I'm going to crimp it down. And since we're going to be hooking up this ground wire, we're going to go ahead and hook up another ground wire. This is going to be the ground for the relay. We're using the other yellow wire that comes in the kit. We did have to cut off the ring terminal on this one as well, because it was too small. So we're going to be putting on another ring terminal just like we did on the blue wire. We're now going to remove the nut from our ground stud. For our vehicle, it's a 13mm socket. It will likely be different for yours. We'll take our wires that we put ring terminals on. We're just going to bring them over, slide them on the stud, and then reinstall the nut. We'll now take the wire that goes to our lights. So this is the one that is coming from the accessory that you're going to be installing. Again, ours is lights. So we're going to get that over. We're going to use the white wire that comes in the kit to make that connection. So we're going to cut off this end, and we're going to be butt connecting them together. We won't be needing this much wire length either, so we're going to be trimming that down. Strip back both ends, and we'll connect them together with our butt connector. We can now take our relay, and we're going to start making those connections. So we're going to take the ground wire that we had back here. We're going to hook that up first. This ground wire is going to go to pin 86. Again, we already showed you that. We hooked our switch wire to 85. We'll be hooking ground to 86. That's going to be just the opposite terminal in the back of your relay from the other one. We'll then take the white wire that we connected to our accessories, and we're going to connect those to pin 87 here on our relay. We'll make that connection. And lastly, we just need to hook up our power. Power is going to connect to the last terminal on our relay, and also to the wire that's going up to our switch for the lights. The black wire that comes in your kit is designed to be used for power, as it's got a fuse already installed in it for the circuit. The black wire isn't long enough to reach our battery and come inside the vehicle to make this connection, so we did have to extend it. We'll be using this pink wire here as that extension. The other end is going to connect to the black wire, which is going to go to the battery. We're now outside the vehicle. We're going to make our connection to the battery. Our black wire has a split ring terminal on one end, and it has the connectors just like all of our other wires on the other end. Right here, we cut this off so we can connect it to our pink wire to use it as an extension. We used a heat shrink butt connector for this connection outside, so remember to heat shrink that down using your heat gun after you've made that butt connection. Back at our battery, we're going to take off the 10mm nut here on the positive post, slide the split ring terminal onto it, and then tighten it back down. And now we can hook up our power wires. We're going to be using the rest of that black wire that we cut off out there, and we're going to hook it back to the pink wire. But we're also going to be hooking up the red wire that goes to our switch to there as well. So we're going to strip back our pink wire. We're going to crimp on a butt connector. And on the other end of our butt connector, since we need two separate power circuits, one for the relay and one for the switch, we're going to strip back the piece of the black wire we're going to be reconnecting for our relay. We're going to take our red wire. We're going to cut off some of the excess because we don't need all of this for this connection. Make sure you leave your fuse in line. You don't want to cut the fuse out of the circuit. Strip that back. I'm just going to route it over. Take off the two wires. We're going to twist them together. And they are both going to connect to the other side of our butt connector. This will give us power for both the relay and the switch. Now take the other end of the black wire and plug it into the last terminal on your relay. We can now test everything out and make sure that our accessories are working properly. We'll turn on our switch, and you can see there that the switch illuminated. Now let's check out our lights. And now check it out, our lights are working properly and we have a professionally wired installation completed by ourselves. All that's left is to push our switch into the slot, locking it in place, and then taking some zip ties to clean up our wiring. If you need some zip ties, you can also pick those up here at etrailer.com. And that completes our look at Blazer's complete relay wiring kit with toggle switch.